I am going to speak some truth here today, and this might make some people uncomfortable, and that is okay. Students, I'm talking about college students specifically, are not lazy. They'll say, I'm lazy, I'm lazy. They're allergic to meaningless bullshit. Okay. And I say that after years inside of higher education, and I couldn't keep pretending that this system was helping them become more alive. And so, if college made you feel anxious or numb or disconnected or ashamed or less than, I don't think that means that you failed at education. I think there is a very real chance that education failed you. So, I'm Dr. Annie Margaret. I have spent most of my life and career, 10, 15 years, in higher education. I have a PhD. I had publications. I had the title. I had the classroom. I had all the accolades. So I'm just saying this to give some credibility that I didn't leave because I wasn't good at the system, right? I was really good at it. But I left that system of higher education because I couldn't keep acting like it was working, basically. And that broke my heart, honestly, because I do believe in education. I believe education is supposed to help people become more alive and more discerning and more clear and more honest and more competent and more connected to themselves. And what I see is that that old world reality is collapsing because the old world is built on systems of false authority. And higher education is one of the priesthoods of that false authority. It trains people to outsource their own inner knowing. And it's become a kind of like pay to play system where you pay tens of thousands, in many cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars for permission. And then we call that learning. And I left because it is spiritually and emotionally starving people while saying it's educating them. And it produces the credentials and the performance and everybody pretending, oh, look at what I can do and I'm so legitimate. But what about their souls, right? What about that divine spark within them, what they came here to do and be and express? I don't see a lot of that being cultivated. And I also want to be mindful here that I love my students. I loved teaching. I love, not even past tense, I love the people I worked with. And that there were real moments of learning happening there. But the longer I stayed there, the more it felt like those moments were happening in spite of the system of higher education, not because of it, right? You got to do more, have bigger class sizes, teach more student credit hours, more until the quality of education is just abysmal. And then there was this moment where I'd been on a spiritual journey for some years at this point. And so I believed I was doing good work within that system. And I still believe that I was, right? Teaching these kids how to meaning and purpose and how to breathe. But at one point I was told by my administrators, Annie, it isn't your job to love your students. And I was just like, then what the hell are we doing here? What is the point of being alive as a human being if love is not part of the work? So, anyway, I left. And I've gone on a little bit already about I was qualified to do that. I don't want to get into that too much, but just to say it had given me things. And there's work to be done in undoing those identity roles, right? So it had given me a role and a title and health insurance for the healthcare system, which we can talk more about later. But basically, I couldn't do it anymore. And it took me a long time to see the cage I was in because the cage is harder to see when it comes with the health insurance and a title and respectability and all of that. And so I was seeing what it did to students, seeing what it did to teachers. I watched it claim, this one's my favorite, claim to value critical thinking while punishing the exact critical thinking that threatens the business model, right? So within a select worldview, we're going to critique things, but don't start asking who benefits from my debt? Why is certain information treated as the gold standard and other is embarrassing? Right? So anyway, I couldn't keep feeding that machine with my life force. Uh, the students, the sweet baby students, I love them so much. And I watched them come in and more with neurodiverse and on the spectrum, and they are bright and sensitive and seeing things in really unique and brilliant ways. And then I watched the system train them into performing a very narrow version of intelligence and grade chasing, and watching them become anxious and fragmented and overextended and disconnected, and forcing themselves to prepare for futures that they didn't even really want. And then people will say, oh, Gen Z doesn't want to work. Oh, that pisses me off. No, they want meaningful, honest work. They do not want to sell their souls to systems built on lies and greed and fear and hierarchy. And that's great. And so this thing that's called a lack of discipline is actually a young person's soul refusing to keep pretending these stupid assignments they've been given actually matter. So this kind of structuring and narrowing that I'm watching happen, they come in full of life and then it's narrowed and narrowed and narrowed until when they graduate, they literally put a little black box on top of your head. On top of your crown, they put a little black box. I'm just saying, just look at the metaphor for what it is. Okay. And I don't want to train people to be clever inside of a cage like that. It's like teaching birds to do stage tricks with clipped wings, and what they're really born to do is fly. And to be kind to my colleagues, the teachers are trapped also, overworked, exhausted. The amount of bureaucracy they're asked to do, right? The committees and the email and the reporting. We got to form a committee to evaluate the so-and-so and the spreadsheets, the amount of spreadsheets. Like, it's no wonder they have any energy left to create something new. And so I love these people. They're doing incredible work in nearly impossible conditions. They have families, right? So I understand why a lot of them have to stay. But I realized I do not have to. I have the resources, the capacity, and the calling to build something else. And for years, I was looking around thinking, do you guys see what's happening? Do you guys seeing this? Do you guys see that this isn't at all what we were told it would be? Right? I mean, I was in this system. I did this my whole life. And then I was like, well, isn't anybody going to do something? Like, this isn't right. What we're doing, isn't anybody going to do something? And then one day I realized it's me. I am the person I was looking for. And so if you're still listening to this video, you are also who you are looking for. That person, that role model, that teacher, the future you keep waiting for. You don't need permission from any system to do that. You are it. And so that old version of education, be still, follow directions, perform intelligence, get the credential, join the workforce, don't ask too many questions. I believe it will fall apart of its own doing. I don't really need to do anything about that other than just get out of the way. The business model is not, it's too expensive for the quality. And so that will be what it will be. And maybe I'll be wrong about that. But what I want to say is that there is another definition that I care about. And that comes from the root educere, which is to lead out and to draw forth and to bring what is inside outside. And that is the version of education I still believe in. Real education does not just stuff more content into a person. It draws something out of them. It helps them discover what is already alive in them, what they know, what they love, what kind of future is here to be created through them. And so that old world system is going to ask questions like, how do we make this person useful to the system? How do we train them into a job for this thing? But at Soul School, which is what I founded, new version of education, we ask what is inside this person that wants to come alive. And that's an important difference, because I don't believe students are empty containers waiting to be filled full of information. I believe that human beings are living souls who came here with a unique mission, carrying lifetimes of intelligence and creativity and skills and perception and purpose that just needs the right conditions for that to emerge. And so that is what we are doing in Soul School, is creating the conditions for that to emerge. This is what I built when I stopped asking that old world for permission to do what I know I'm here to do. And I'm not saying that for you to look at me and say, oh, wow, so amazing. No, it's just an example of what's possible. Soul School is about remembering who we really are beyond these systems of control. It's about embodiment, living in a new way, and bringing the soul fully into the body so that we can live from that place. Direct experience, alignment, protection, rest. Oh my gosh, so many people need so much rest right now. We have been through it. If rest, after this video, if you go lay down a couple minutes, allow yourself that, please. And yes, we do get to have teachers, we have guides, we have mentors, but I'm asking you, as you choose those on your journey, as you choose those mentors, just consider if they have actually lived the things they are teaching. Or have they memorized it and performed it and then repeated it back in whatever language was going to reward them for saying that thing, right? So as you're choosing your guides on your journey, ask that question. Have they really lived what they're teaching me? I am speaking the truth about what is happening inside the institution. And I want to be clear, I place the onus of responsibility on the system, not the people. Those are good people in there. I am interested in helping people become clear enough, aligned enough, and brave enough to build lives where they no longer have to forsake the truth of their soul. That is the work. That is what I am doing. And it feels really, really good. So that's what this channel is for. It's for people that can feel those kind of old world structures and systems of false authority, and they don't like it, but they don't exactly know. And I've lived that, and I'm walking that path and have walked it. And so I'm hoping what I share here can support you on your path, because you're right on time. I promise you, you are right on time. It is all happening for you right now. And you do not, I'm going to say this one more time because it is so important. Okay. You do not have to wait for the high priests of higher education or any other institution of external authority to bless you before you start doing what your soul came here to do. I did not leave higher education because I stopped believing in education. I left because I believe in the will of the soul.